Welcome back to today's economic news. I'm John, here to dig deep into the pressing financial headlines affecting your wallet and sometimes your perspective on what's truly going on in the economy. Today, we're examining an event that's not just about the end of a currency denomination we're all familiar with, but a deeper look into how our money is evolving or devolving depending on who you ask. A mock funeral for the penny has been held at the iconic Lincoln Memorial, symbolizing the end of an era. But is it more than just a good riddance to an inefficient form of currency? The end of the penny's production is stirring up a nationwide debate about economic efficiency and the changing landscape of American currency. Now, before we dive into the ceremony and the theatrics of what essentially has become a cultural checkpoint, let's take a moment to reflect on why this should have your blood boiling, or at the very least, your curiosity piqued. Over the years, discussions about the penny's practicality have come and gone, dismissed by the simple fact that it was, for a long time, a staple of American transactions. However, the economics of it makes little sense once you peel back the rose-colored nostalgia. Consider this: pennies were costing producers more to make than they were valued at. Nearly 4 cents per penny, to be exact. It's as if you've been withdrawing $1 from your bank only to be charged a fee that eats the majority of it. A poor financial choice. Before we look at today's disaster, remember back in 2020 when they said pennies were practically obsolete? In fact, critics of its continued production have argued about it for decades. The penny, born out of the Coinage Act of 1792, saw its shine dull as inflation pummeled the value of a cent. Over 230 years of circulation, but over time, even the tiniest coin couldn't escape the clutches of economic reality. Digital transactions soon became the go-to, minimizing our usage of coins and cash. Before now, the penny was honored probably for tradition's sake, a relic of the past that most of us stuffed in jars or tossed into wishing wells. Yet, here we are in 2025, finally witnessing a long overdue change-driven nod. Only by market demand, but also by fiscal responsibility, or so they say. Let's move into some numbers and analysis. December 20th, 2025 marks the date when the U.S. Treasury officially stopped producing new pennies, putting an end to what has been called an economically unviable practice. Consider that each penny costs nearly 4 cents to produce, a glaring issue when taxpayers effectively fund an item that isn't holding its end of the financial bargain. So why did it take so long? Why did it have to come to the point where Treasury secretaries and even former presidents like Donald Trump publicly decried the practice as wasteful? Trump himself remarked, "For far too long, the United States has minted pennies which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful." Well, ask yourself, if this was your household, how would you manage if you continually spent more money making something than it was worth? It's sheer madness. But let's not be hastily swayed. While the penny's discontinuation appears to focus on economic efficiency, cutting costs, and modernizing currency, there's another side to this coin, no pun intended. Many Americans, especially those relying heavily on physical currency, could struggle with price increases due to rounding without pennies. While proponents argue for the simplification of transactions, there's a concern that pennies disappearing will lead to consumers getting shortchanged incrementally, but enough to notice over time. Opposing sides argue that government's pursuit of monetary efficiency may overshadow significant socioeconomic impacts on individuals, especially in this gradually digitalizing society. And now, here's where perhaps the hidden agenda emerges. Libertarians might argue the death of the penny marks yet another nail in the coffin of currency autonomy. Inflation has robbed citizens of value over time. Some would describe it as a hidden theft. Continuing to produce pennies despite their inefficacy spoke to incompetence and inefficiency in government money management. But in moving to a digital-first monetary system, is there a loss of our personal say in financial transactions? A shift that subtly hints at more state control over how we handle our wealth and trade our services, abstracting us further away from our hard-earned cash. The end of the penny isn't just about the conclusion of a currency's legacy. It showcases the government's blind march towards centralizing financial control under the guise of advancement and efficiency. We see here not just the fluctuation of fiscal decisions, but the fading liberty of cash in hand. sentiment as tangible as the penny itself once was. So, as we close today's segment and ponder on what the death of the penny might signify, remember this: the conversation extends beyond costs. It's about the balance between efficiency and freedom. If this issue has stirred something in you, if you feel the sting of paying the price for someone else's mistake, or if you're tired of seeing your money wasted, hit subscribe. Join us as we continue to peel back the layers of economic policy, 1 cent at a time. This is John signing off, reminding you to keep a close eye on the details. They're in the fine print of our currency's history.